YouTube, what is going on? Hope you're doing super well. In this video, we're going to cover the top 4 push-up mistakes that people make when they are performing their push-ups. We're going to talk about how to correct those mistakes, and at the end of the video, we're going to talk about if you cannot do push-ups on the floor right now, if you can't get in a push-up position and successfully perform a push-up on the floor, we're going to talk about your other options and a little bonus technique I can give to you to hopefully help you increase your push-up strength and be able to get to the floor and do push-ups sooner rather than later. All right, let's dive right in. So the first mistake I see people make when they're going to perform their push-ups is their hands are way out too wide and their elbows are way out too wide in combination with that. So for example, this might look like if you are setting up to do a push-up, your hands are all the way out here. And then when you go down into your push-up, it might look something like this right here, because your hands and your elbows are entirely way too out wide. When I used to train people in person, I had somebody come to me that I corrected their form on push-ups, and they said, that's odd. When I went into the group fitness class, I think it was like the bar class or whatever it was, they taught us to do a push-up like this, and I guess they called it a field goal post. Do not make a field goal post with your arms and your elbows when doing push-ups. You are just asking for a a shoulder injury. That is the #1 way to get a shoulder injury, is if you're having your elbows and your shoulders at a 90-degree angle. So for example, again, a 90-degree angle would be like this right here. That is asking for shoulder impingement, because when you're putting so much pressure, think of it, your shoulder is basically trying to go through your skin. You're like putting so much pressure on your shoulder joint right there. So how you fix this is, I'll show you from the side view, you get into a proper push-up position, which would be, you want your hands down by your nipple area, and you want your elbows almost like either right by your side or a 45-degree angle. So for example, I'm gonna get my my hands down by my nipple area, right? And from here, you wanna think about having your shoulders in line with your wrists and your elbows in line with your wrists more so. We're gonna touch on that here in a second. So when you go down, as opposed to going like this, you want your elbows to be almost grazing your sides, and you're going down by your side. Again, as you can see right here, I'm not out here wide like this. My elbows are not creating a 45-degree angle. My elbows are more creating my elbows are, right now, they're creating a 90-degree angle. Right now, they're creating more of a 45-degree angle, and this is what we want, because if you watch when I go down one more time here, this right here, my elbows are in line with my wrist, as opposed to out here where my elbows are all over the place. In here, my elbows are in line with my wrist, right? I'm gonna show you from the front view one more time. So let's say I get up in a push-up position. I'm going to go down, and my elbows are gonna stay by my body. They're not out here like this. If your elbows are going this way and they're kicking out to the side, you gotta fix that. You gotta think about twisting a top on of a can. If you twist the top on, that's how you should set up your push-up position. Because if your elbow pits are facing each other, bad news bears. But if your elbow pits are trying to face the wall in front of you, again, elbow pits right here trying to face the wall in front of you, that is going to allow you to have your elbows by your body that much more. I'll show you from the side view one more time. Again, so this would be incorrect, and then this would be correct. All right, so that is the first mistake. People's hands are out way too wide. Get your hands closer to your body and get your elbows more at a 45-degree angle. Now, the second mistake, piggybacking off that, is people are not going forward first and then down. When you're doing a push-up, most people just think of it as down and up. They go down and they come right back up. What I want you to think about is going forward first and then going down. Let me show you what I mean. So when you're going down first, this is what that might look like. And this is gonna lead to what we talked about in the previous in the previous mistake. When you go straight down, what happens? Your elbows flare out to the side. You create this 90-degree angle with your shoulders and your elbows. So if you're just going straight down and back up, a lot of pressure on your shoulder, a lot of pressure on your elbow, a lot of pressure on your wrist, right? So what you need to think about is going forward first and then going down. And as you can see, Right now, my elbows are creating that 45-degree angle. My elbows are in line with my wrist, and I'm in a much more advantageous position and a much more safe position, honestly, to put less stress on my elbows, less stress on my shoulders, and less stress on my wrist, okay? So I'll show you from the front view one more time. So again, do not go straight down. Your nose should not be finishing where your hands are. You should be thinking, let me go forward. See where my chest is and my hands are. I'm not back here. I'm all the way up here. This is a correct push-up position. You're going forward first and then down. Do not go, so if I was on my toes and I went straight down again, it would look like that right there. And that, I can already, my wrist is already hurting from that. Gonna put a lot of stress on your wrist, gonna put a lot of stress on your elbows, put a lot of stress on your shoulders. Go, think about going forward first and then going down into your push-up, okay? All right, so now third mistake is people are not bracing their abdominals, because when you think about a push-up is actually just a moving plank. You have to brace your abs so you do not sag your lower back, right? It's a moving plank, so you have to be, it's not just the chest or it's not just an arm exercise, it's a full body exercise. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like incorrect, okay? So what people do is they get in this position, they do not brace their core, and they're just basically humping the ground like this. Or they start off like this, but they go down like this. Come back up, go down like this, come back up, right? That is not bracing your abs correctly, because if you were bracing your abs correctly, your body, your torso would not be moving. You'd basically be staying in one straight line. Let me show you. So this would be the correction. So when you brace your abs, and again, bracing your abs, think about two things. Number one, if I'm gonna punch you. If I'm gonna punch you, you wanna bear down, brace your abs. And also think about bringing your ribs to your belly button. Not overarching, but just slightly bringing your ribs to your belly button. And then from there, if you do those two things, you are going to maintain proper push-up form. And again, the not proper push-up form would be this. We want to make sure, and again, that's why I said bring your rib cage to your belly button, because it almost creates this, I would rather you think about arching more than sagging. Because if you think about kind of like arching your back, that's going to bring your rib cage to your belly button. You're going to brace your core that much more. You're going to squeeze your butt, and then you're going to go down, come right back up, right? So I'd rather you think about almost like, not overarching your back, not over rounding your back, I'm sorry, but think about, again, bringing your rib cage to your belly button. And also, one last thing would be squeezing your glutes, because if your glutes are squeezed and you're using your glutes, contracting your glutes, your lower back is not gonna move around that much, right? So if you are bracing your abs, squeezing your glutes, from here, you are going to have a proper push-up form. I'll go from this angle. One last time. Sorry, I'm a little tall here, so I'm trying to make it work. All right, so that's the third one, I'm sorry. Do not brace your core. You have to be bracing your core. It's a full body exercise, so make sure you are doing that, okay? Fourth mistake is not really technically a mistake, but it's something people do quite often. If you are not strong enough to do push-ups from the floor, if you don't have adequate upper body strength and or just total body strength in general, because like we just said, the push-up is a total body exercise. If you do not have the adequate strength, one of those three things are probably going to happen, right? You're probably gonna try to compensate by not going down all the way, not getting a full range of motion, probably throwing your elbows out wide so you can act like you're doing a push-up, but you're not really doing a push-up, you're just gonna get injured. So if you don't have the adequate strength, I would say to do a push-up from the floor, that's okay. Because what you're gonna do is you're simply going to elevate your hands. I'm gonna go on my couch right here. The reason that I say doing a hands elevated push-up is better than doing a push-up on your knees, because when you're doing a push-up on your knees, you're not holding that plank position, because you're letting your lower body hold that plank position for you. So when you elevate your hands, you still have to hold a plank position. You still have to brace your abs. You still have to squeeze your core. It's still a total body movement. You're using your entire body, right? And what this will do is this will get your body used to and strong enough to then when you move lower and lower and lower on the elevation, when you get to the floor, your abs will be strong enough and your body will know how to do the push-up movement because you've been doing it the entire time, just on an elevated surface, right? So what you would do is you go to an elevated surface. I'm on my couch right here. You can go to a box, you can go to a wall, you can go to a windowsill, whatever is going to allow you to get your chest all the way to whatever surface you're using, right? So for example, this couch. If I was to do this right here and I could not get all the way down, go higher. It's not a bad thing, but you're not gonna get the intended benefit of the exercise unless you can fully get your chest to the surface and then back up. If you're stopping here, again, you're not going to, in the long run, get any stronger because you're not getting the full range of motion. We wanna get the full range of motion. So when you go to an elevated surface, again, all the same things apply. You're gonna keep your elbows close to your body. You're not gonna throw them out wide. You're gonna keep your core braced. You're gonna keep your hands about nipple height. And you're going to, again, go forward first and then down. Forward first and then down. So you would do this, and again, the higher the elevation, the easier. The lower the elevation, the harder. So let's say you start at your table, and then you go to your couch, and then you go to your coffee stand, and then you go to a 3-inch elevated box. And then from there, you then move to the floor because you've been able to, over 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 weeks, get stronger at doing push-ups. And then from there, you'll move slightly lower and lower and lower to the ground where you'll be able to do the correct push-up on the ground with correct form, without injuring yourself, with proper range of motion, and so on and so forth, okay? So that is what you would do to correct the push-up mistakes. And also, if you cannot do a push-up on the floor, you would just elevate your hands and you would do it from an elevated surface, just making sure you get your chest all the way to the elevated surface you are using, okay? So one last thing I wanna give to you, if you do want to improve your push-ups and you cannot do your push-ups from the floor yet, you can implement something called grease the groove method. And basically what this is just, you are, a push-up, for example, it's a skill. You have to get, not only do you have to get strong, but you have to get better at doing push-ups. And the more you do push-ups, the better you're gonna get at doing push-ups. It's, let's say, for example, you were a baseball player. The more you throw a baseball, the better you're gonna get at throwing a baseball. If you're a tennis player, when you do a tennis racket swing or whatever they call it thing, that's what you're gonna do, and you're gonna get better at doing that swing, right? So the more you do it, the better you get. But what you have to remember is you do not, and you should not, go to complete failure every single time. Like a baseball player, for example, they don't throw their arm out every single time they go and practice. They do a little bit and they call it a day. Do a little bit, call it a day. Same thing here. If you want to get better at push-ups and you want to use the grease the groove method, let's say, for example, right now you're following a 3 meals and 2 snacks method, right? So you're eating 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you're having 2 snacks. Let's say every time you have a meal or a snack, you do 2 elevated push-ups. Again, nothing crazy. You just go do 2 elevated push-ups. So on your 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, that's 6 push-ups, right? On your 2 snacks, that's 4 more push-ups. That's 10 push-ups a day, right? It's pretty good. You might be doing no push-ups a day right now. Now, let's say you do 10 push-ups a day every day for a week. 10 times 7, 70 push-ups per week. Now you're adding up. Now, 4 weeks in a month. 70 times 4, 240 push-ups per month. That's a lot of push-ups just from doing, 2 push-ups at breakfast, 2 push-ups at lunch, 2 push-ups at dinner. They add up, add up, add up. And I guarantee if you're doing 240 push-ups per month, you're gonna get pretty freaking good at doing push-ups. So that was the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to drop them below. If you like videos like this, I can try to do more. So if you like it, please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know. If you enjoy the channel, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, do whatever you gotta do. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk soon, all right?